Hey, what's going on, guys? I believe this is Thursday. Yes, it's Thursday. So happy Thursday. So today I want to talk about soul ties. So this is for men, this is for women, this is really for everybody. So let's jump right into it. So many people talk about soul ties. What does it mean, right? What is soul ties? Soul ties is when you connect with people on a spiritual and subconscious level. And so once you connect with these people on that level, on that in-depth level, now you have to figure out, okay, is this person the one for me? Now, the more time you spend on this deep level with this person, they become bonded to your spirit and they become bonded to your soul. So now you're like, okay, this person is quote unquote my soulmate. This person is the person I'm supposed to be with for the rest of my life. This person's going to make me happy. They're going to fulfill everything in my dreams and it's going to be perfect. Now, when things start going wrong, right, in your relationship, and the person that you're with, you're not operating on the same frequency no more, right? When you first met, you guys were the same. You were in the same space so that y'all can connect and bond. But when you don't know how to deal with that person anymore, when you don't know how to respond to their emotions anymore, when you're elevating, when you're evolving, when you're becoming the best version of you, that's when it becomes rough. And so it becomes a point in time where your relationship actually starts to disconnect. And you try to cut it. You try to say, okay, well, I'm not going to talk to you no more. I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to get rid of you, this, that, and the third. So here's what soul ties are. Once you connect with that person, you don't realize it, but that whole entire time, you were blending together. Everything that bothered you bothered them. Everything that bothered them bothered you. Everything that they felt, you felt, and vice versa. And so the more that you connected, the more entangled you become. That's why it's called bonding, right? Because when you bond together, you know, is the energy within you that allows for you to connect with anyone, right? And so, but the thing about that energy is that when it's time to disconnect, there's a part of you that doesn't want to disconnect. And it's on a subconscious level. Because you're like, I want to let this person go. How come I can't let them go? Because they're a part of your identity. Yeah, they're part of your identity now. This person that you slept with, this person that you made love to, this person that you kissed, this person that you held their hand and went to the movies and laughed over dinner and you know, held, that person, it's hard to get rid of that person. Because that person now is a part of your soul. They're part of your subconscious. So how do you, essentially the answer is, how do you cut soul ties? Well, if you cut it, you will lose yourself. Now, a lot of times people say, I don't care what you say, I'm going to cut them anyway. Okay, but just trust me, you will lose yourself. The best thing to do when it comes down to soul ties is to elevate. So you have to elevate to another version of you, a version of you that does not exist within the space that you connected with that person, that you bonded with that person. See, it's almost like if you held a cord, right, and you wrapped it around a tree. You wrapped it tight, and then you started walking the opposite direction, and you start walking as far as you can. Eventually, either that cord is going to pull you back because it's wrapped around something, it's connected to something, or it's going to let loose if the power and strength and force that you're moving in that opposite direction is actually going to allow it to loosen up and let go. And the only reason why that happens is because if that person simultaneously is moving in the opposite direction as you, so that's when the disconnection actually happens. But it doesn't happen because you want it to happen. It happens because it's time to happen. And so how do you know if this person is going to let you go? Truthfully, you don't. Because some people just don't want to move on. And it has nothing to do with you. You might be thinking to yourself, oh yeah, I put it down on her. Yeah. Yo, you ladies, you might be thinking to yourself, I gave it something good. He ain't get it like that. But the truth is that this person, they're not ready. They're not ready because they're in a space where they don't really want to change or evolve. They don't want to grow. And so most times with people, they say, oh, I'm still in love with this person. Truthfully, you're not. You're in love with an idea. See, essentially, when we get into relationships, we sell ideas to each other, right? And we see if that idea matches the other person's idea of love. So when that matches their idea of love, then they buy it from us, right? And so what happens is that most times when that idea matches, it's so that the person doesn't have to evolve. With relationships, it's all about you meeting this person and saying, I'm going to set up camp here. And no matter where you go, you're going to come back to that. It's almost like having a home, right? You buy the home, as soon as you get the home, you know, I'm going home. You say that automatically because you have to set up camp somewhere. But then there's some people where you get with them and they are always moving, always evolving, always growing. And so those people, those are the ones that you connect to, and they're a part of your soul. They're part of your journey. And so how do you know if this person is willing to let you go? When this person is willing to let you go, it's when they are ready to evolve. And most times, people can sense when you're moving on. Have you ever been in a space where you're getting ready to move on, you're like, I'm done, and a person calls you, texts you out of the blue? They send you an email or a text or a DM, whatever it may be. And they send this to you and they say, hey, I was just thinking about you. No, they weren't. Your soul ties were connected and you were pulling away, and they could feel it. On a subconscious level, they could feel it. They could feel the disconnect happening. And that's why they reached out. And sometimes people aren't as in tune with everything, but they just know something's off. This must be Janeka. Or this must be, Bobby, right? And then you reach out to them and you say, hey, how you doing? I was just thinking about you. But you really wasn't. You felt them disconnecting. You felt them fall in love with someone. You felt them moving on. And that's how powerful soul ties are. You can't cut them. The only thing you can do is move within a higher frequency. And that means basically bettering yourself. Whatever you wasn't doing with that in that relationship, whatever made you say, oh, this is who I am, you got to evolve beyond who you are and who you were in that space. So that way, the version of you doesn't exist anymore. And then eventually that person, once they start to move, the disconnect naturally happens. But if you cut it, you will lose your identity. Because when we fall in love, when we connect with people, we can't help it. We love them. We can't help it. We miss them. We can't help it. We crave them. And the reason why we crave them is because they're a part of who we are. And so when we say that we hate the person that we're with, we really hate ourselves, because we hate a version of ourselves that person is just reflecting back to us. And so you have two choices. You can accept that version of you, or you can move on. And when you move on, you just have to let nature take its course. Because at a certain point, you can't control people. You can't cut ties with people who have helped you to see yourself. When you live inside of yourself as a human being, you can't see how you come off, how you make people feel. You can't see it. The only way you can see it is through interactions with other people. And then you know something's wrong with me. I need to work on this. Or you know, this who I am. You either accept it or leave it. And most times when people say that, this is really what they mean when they say this. You need to take me as I am, accept it or leave it. What they're saying is that they cannot evolve. They cannot grow, because they understand that if they evolve and grow, they won't know who they are anymore. So if you ever meet people and they're in a phase of their life when they're saying, this is who I am, take it or leave it, they're not ready to evolve. They're okay with where they're at. You're not, but they are. And so when it comes to soul ties, I would say this to you guys: don't cut them. Move within a higher frequency. Move within a higher vibration. Elevate yourself, and you will develop that disconnection. Okay? I love you guys. I appreciate all the support and the love. Hope you guys are having a beautiful day, and I will see you guys in the next segment. Peace.